Sasstastic Life with hosts Tricia Rivas and Wendi Tricia.
Hello, we are back. Hello. We have Christina Moffat in the house.
Hello. This is going to be so good.
Oh, you have no idea.
I know, seriously. Oh, goodness, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Let's do it.
Let's go. So we love to talk about women of action, which you definitely are. You said you walk into a room and you're like, let's get shit done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're definitely a woman of action. It's a superpower, being a woman of action.
Mm-hmm.
But how has it been a kryptonite for you?
Well, I think especially when I was young, like not knowing the word no. I think your boundaries get firmer as you get older and you kind of have your priorities straighten out a little bit more. But man, that word no when you're young and you are a get shit done person, you just take it all on. You know, you take on way too much, you burn out quick, but you don't tell anybody you burn out. You just keep, chucking it along. And so I think the older I've gotten, I've learned to do that. But the thing is, like, it's still, we were just talking about, top 5 strengths and achievers. It's in me. It's one of my top 5. It's very hard for me to know that and prioritize, but I'm getting better.
What is the most recent thing that you've said no to? I have something popping up in my mind right now.
There's a lot. There's a lot that I've said no to. I would actually say just even yesterday, I sent an email. Somebody had asked me to do something and I really needed to think on it. Sometimes I need to think like, do I want to take this on? Do I believe in this? A lot of times I can say yes or no very quickly, but this was something that I'm like, I'm kind of passionate about it, but I don't know right now time-wise if I can do this. And looking at the timeline. And so what I did is I said I needed to talk to a couple people and I would get back to this person. And what I did is I talked to 2 people that could potentially come speak at this event, and I emailed this person back and I said, "Hey, thank you so much for thinking of me. Like, I am very passionate about what you're doing, but time-wise for me, I'm not going to be able to do this, but I am going to give you 2 names and a possible organization that can help." So a lot of times for me, if I want to say no to something that I had to think about, I will give them other options of at least places to check, and then I don't feel so bad about saying no.
I love that.
I love that. Again, not saying yes to everything, because when we do that, we don't give other people opportunities that the yes was probably more for them than for us.
100%. I love that.
Yeah.
I think just that phrase, thank you for thinking of me.
Yes.
Let me get back to you. Or, at this time, I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to want to over explain why I can't. Or feel like I have to make something up. But
Or-
no is okay too.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I can't.
Or putting it off, the no, when you know the no
Oh.
is the no, but then putting it off, and then you actually look like a bigger asshole.
Yeah,
Really,
because you
do.
shorten their time to find somebody else or
Exactly, Christina.
something else. And when we owned our small business, like we couldn't be all things to all people. So again, we always said, "Thank you for thinking of us." Like, because it's an honor when somebody thinks of you. But hey, we can't do that well, or that's not a product we do, or we're already full, this weekend on orders. But here's 3 other people that potentially you could reach out to.
Go ahead.
My friend, you have been through a lot in the past 3 years. You really have. I mean, with COVID, with the roads being closed, with derecho, I mean, all of it. Was there a point within all of that where you were like, you know what, it's time to sell?
Yeah.
Was there like a trigger? Was there a light bulb?
There 100% was a trigger for me. And actually, it's so funny. I was just talking about this today with someone else. But owning my own business that was a retail business, I'll back up and kind of let people know we were going to move into our 10-year anniversary at the shop. And I knew that it was a little ways out, but you plan ahead, right? So in 2019, November of 2019, I had my business evaluated thinking, okay, moving toward 10-year, I just want to see where I'm at before we move into that. I know we're going to have to remodel. And so I just kind of wanted a check-in point. It wasn't like I was looking to sell right then, but I really needed to know, like, I wanted to see how hard I had worked and where we were at. And so I had that done. So then when COVID hit, the other piece that people don't know, you talk about things that people don't know and being in a hard spot. I was on the Iowa Restaurant Association board when COVID was going down. I knew we were going to get shut down before it was public because we were in special meetings and had a heads up And it was basically like, if we don't shut all the restaurants down with the bars and the hotels, we're never going to have any supplemental income. We could lose part of a permanent industry, or we're going to have to come together as a team, hospitality all together. So I kind of had this hats up that it was coming. Um, but it still happened. In 48 hours, I literally lost 75% of my revenue. I had 24 weeks of events cancel. My night bar was shut down, and literally almost every bigger order I had canceled. And so I was desperate for walk-in, and I was desperate for people just to hold on to their teeny tiny 6-order cupcakes that they had at the time. So fast forward, as you mentioned, like, we held on through COVID. We kept the team. The team was another thing. Like, we had to lay off our night staff. We went from 22 employees to 4 overnight. We built back to 9. On top of that, they closed our road down with literally a weekend's notice that you couldn't even walk in our door. And that went on from June until November. And then the derecho came. We had trees in our building. We didn't lose our power, but they had to take our power down. So all our groceries had been delivered the day before, like all of that. It was just one thing after the next. And then we also got notification, which it did not happen. And it was just a really hard time for everybody. But we had notification that potentially there was going to be riots in the neighborhood. And, it was one of those things where you want that justice, but you also don't know what to do. Right. And you want everybody to be safe. If something from your business flies out of your business and hits someone, you're actually liable.
Yes. Wow.
And so I had to call our insurance company on all that. So the point that actually came to me selling the business came way later. And it was kind of building back, building back, building back. But in November of 2021, my father ended up needing a 5 bypass procedure, emergency. But at the very same time, my mom was sick. And I have a brother that lives with them as well. And it was like, it just hit me. Like, I can't be a good mother to my son, take care of 2 sick people, figure out where my brother's going to go if we have to move them, and be present, with the shop. They deserve more than that. And my team never said anything, but it was in the hospital that I decided the time is so short with my parents. The time is very short with my 9-year-old. I got 9 more years left. Like, it's time. I knew it was time.
But not only that, my friend, you're also working at the Des Moines Partnership and trying to save and help and give resources to thousands of other small business owners when dealing with what you are dealing with personally and professionally too. Now, those of us that know you personally knew a little bit of that, but those that don't thought she's kicking ass. I mean, she's doing it. She's living life. She's got it all together. She's doing this, she's doing that. And that wasn't the case.
No, that wasn't the case at all. Life comes in different phases. And actually, at the time that COVID hit, I had gone through a divorce. We were living separate. I had a kindergartner trying to do online classes. I had a shop that had lost 75% of the income. And at the time, my job was 6,500 small businesses, that all needed help. I had 24 chamber directors calling me and asking me for help and trying to maneuver all that. And yeah, people just thought I had it together. But honestly, like, sometimes you show up and you put this smile on your face and you're just like, I'm just going to get through today.
Yeah.
Just going to get through today. And honestly, at that time, not a lot of people traveled during COVID, but I needed something to look forward to. And a lot of times it was leaving this town. And I love Des Moines dearly, but I needed to mentally check out and go to a cabin. I mean, we saw a lot of the county parks and toured the cabins at that time.
Yes,
I
exactly.
just needed something to look forward to.
Mhm. This is going to be a hard question, but I have to ask, with someone that has and continues to have as much success as you do, what was that like going through a divorce? Because again, when successful people have divorces, is it a people can look at it as a failure, or what did they do wrong, and it's just like sometimes it's just a season of life.
Yeah, it was very hard. I mean, and being a small business owner, whether you ever want to admit this, that business definitely becomes almost like a partner in or a child in the relationship.
Yeah.
And there was also some family things that were happening with us that were definitely causing, some very strenuous times in the relationship. So it wasn't all the business, but yeah, I did feel like a failure. But to me, I knew that these two things that were impacting the marriage were not he and I. Like he and I would still show up for our child. He and I always had Sunday night dinner with our only son. Like I did everything I could to still try to make it a family unit, which in the end saved us really. So we went through the divorce, we maintained this really good co-working relationship. And since then, I mean, we lived apart from 2017 until July of 2021, and we own a house together again. We're not married again. That's not in our future, but it's okay to step back and figure out how to be a good partner. And being a good partner is not what everybody else tells you it is. It's for you, what works for you and your family dynamic.
Oh, I love that, Christina. I do. I love that.
So now that you've it's hard to even know what's going on when you're in the storm, right? So you've walked through the storm clouds
The
and
shit storm.
you're past the shit storm. 90% past any shit. There's always shit. Like looking back, how did you not literally just crawl into bed and like
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
wake up? Like
Ye-
how
there was very hard days. I will say, like, I have no problem saying that I see a counselor. I think you have to have that person, and I always think that somebody who's trained in this is better because I will tell you there was very hard days during COVID. Finding out that there was business owners that committed suicide, like, and there were people that I knew was just devastating for me. And then hearing these stories of business owners, like I'm one that I absorb that. I'm an Enneagram too. I absorb everybody's emotion around me. I feel it all.
Yes.
And then I'm an empathy on the Clifton, which means you feel it all. And so I had to have some way to deflect that off of me. And that is where my counselor comes in. She's great. And I still work with her. I still see her. I mean, sometimes I need to see her every week and sometimes I need to see her once a month. But that is literally the only thing that helped me through it. And I'm the type of person too that I'm futuristic. I knew that it wasn't going to go on forever and that I just had to get through it. And so a lot of days I just put my head down and I just literally tried to check those days off to get closer to getting out of what we were in.
Is someone that is still a small business owner, sometimes I feel like it's worse than what it was
Yeah.
during COVID. I mean, there are days and times that feel like that because things have changed
Mhm.
so much, in good and bad ways too.
Mhm.
But again, when you're in the shitstorm, it's just like, oh, I can honestly share this with you, and I think I have shared this with you, is that I've had more times of thinking I wanted to sell my business than I ever have.
Mhm.
I've had more tears about my business and my employees than I ever have in owning 17 years of Trixie's.
Yeah, I can relate to that because and again, my staff, like we wouldn't have had a business if it wasn't for the staff. I always talk about the staff. There was no way we would have had a successful business. And I know you feel the same way too. You can't have a business unless you have great staff. And when this thing happened, when COVID came, it was like, this is my family. I have
Yeah,
to figure out how to
yeah,
feed them. These people
yes,
have families and
yes,
children, and
yes.
how are we going to make it through? And I felt the weight of that more than I ever felt it.
Mhm.
Um, but a lot of business owners are just, they're kind of like me coming out of it. I mean, I have literally had a family incident that kind of was like the light bulb for me. But there are a lot of people are like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's
They
okay.
are.
It's a season of life, it's a
Yes.
chapter of your book. And that honestly, everything you learn in that takes you to the next thing you're going to do in your life.
Yeah. Well, I think it has taught a lot of us that life is way too short.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it has. That
Hmm.
life is way too short to not be doing the things that light your heart and soul on fire.
Yeah.
Literally. Because I mean, no second is promised.
Hmm.
No second is promised.
I
It can be
had,
gone just like that.
yeah, it can be. And I had a really hard time before COVID, like really stopping to enjoy the moments. For me, I'm a checklist person. I gotta, yeah, yay, I did this. Okay,
what's
like
next?
next.
Yeah.
And COVID really made me stop and enjoy, like, look at my child figuring something out, enjoying those moments, even though it was super stressful. I enjoyed the quiet with him. I enjoyed, going to see places in Iowa we probably never would have seen had
Yeah.
it not been COVID. I loved that we started to plan for the next thing. That wasn't something we were really doing before as a family, and that helped us during COVID is plan for the next thing. look forward to life outside of whatever our career is.
I love that. I love that.
So I always think that all the wisdom usually that we need is within us, in our past self, our future self.
I
So
love this picture.
here's
This is very Beverly Hills 50210.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Or no, did I say
That-
50210?
No, that's an Iowa zip code, I think.
50021. That's where that one came
50021.
from.
This is your senior
That's awesome.
picture.
That is my senior picture.
Can I
So-
see it again?
Yes,
Oh, girl, you hot.
you're rocking it.
I loved that outfit. I
So
was
great.
like,
Love it.
So, what advice would you give her? We're going to hop in a little DeLorean. We get to visit very briefly. What advice would you give her?
I think that I love working with high school kids and early college kids because I didn't have somebody look at me and say, it's okay to not know. And I needed to hear that because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I felt a lot like the pressures of life of I need to know at 17 or 18 what I'm going to be for, the rest of my life. You don't know. And my career path is zigzagged all over the place. And so my advice I would give to her is just like life's going to be tough, but whatever situation you're in does not brand you for the rest of your life. You get to choose something different. So whatever happens to you, you get to choose something. And that piece of it, selling my business, do I really know what I'm doing? Is anybody really going to think that I can work in a corporate setting? Like, do I really have the good advice? Yes, I do. But at that age, you don't know that. You don't know that. And really, the importance of networking is the other thing I would tell her.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot burn bridges because they come full circle.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And there's a difference between standing up for what you believe in and advocating for that and burning a bridge.
So, have you always been a natural networker? Or is it something you really had to build up?
I think it's hard when you're in high school, right? There's the cliques.
Yep.
I was not a clique. I knew what I liked. So I would say I have a very strong belief in empathy. I always try to meet people where they're at. If you're down in the hole, I'm going to come down in the hole with you. And that's different than sympathy. So empathy is climbing in the hole with someone. And so I would say that I was natural with people and really wanting to understand and meet people where they are. That was something that I always had. But I wouldn't say networking was something I understood. I think you learn it as you get older and the importance of it. And the importance of valuing and learning other people's perspectives, even if you don't believe in them.
Oh, that
I
is.
don't agree.
Oh my gosh, that is. More and more people need to know that.
Yeah.
And be educated on that, Christine, and be open to that. Yeah, I love that. My goodness, I get so excited when I meet with people that we don't have the same walks of life, or the same interest, or the same hobbies, or I love that. I absolutely
You can
love
always
that.
find something that you have in common with someone if you just have a conversation.
Yeah.
There's always something you can have in common. Music, movies. We're so focused on everything that we don't agree with people.
And the biggest thing, Wendy, is their blood all is red.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Yes,
their blood is red.
You cut our heads open, all of our brains are the same color.
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
We're,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. So even if you feel like you're struggling, you just got to meet them at that. Hey, I agree to disagree with you, but I respect that you shared that with me.
Yes,
But I see you and I see that your blood is red just like mine.
yeah.
I love that. I will
So
remember
I
that.
like to kind of flip this around. If you think of Christina in the middle of all that shitstorm that you were in, like if you think of the peak, the height of the shit, the
Yeah.
tallest pile of the shit, if she could see you now, I mean, I feel like you have a lot more. You have a more of a peaceful vibe about you. What would she be in awe of?
I think that she would be in awe that I stuck to my core and my belief. And you both have seen some of that go down this year. In that, when I don't believe in something and it doesn't meet me my core value, I will agree to disagree with you, and I'm happy to exit that situation or that conversation or that relationship if needed. There's again, you come back to the chapters of your life, and it's if something no longer serves you and does not match your core belief, it's okay to walk away from that. And I
Okay
think
to
that
walk away.
she would be very proud that I have stuck to that.
And
Well,
how
I
are
know
your
that we're
parents?
fucking proud of you.
Yes. Very fucking proud.
Exactly.
How are your
Thank you.
parents doing?
My parents are doing great. I just saw
Yes,
them
fantastic.
yesterday. So after all that happened and we kind of got through it, it's been I just cherish them, so much more. Like those days are just numbered. And growing up in Ankeny, a lot of my friends' parents are starting to pass away, and that
Yes.
just really makes you realize
Yes,
again
it
how
is.
short time is. And just yesterday, like seeing their joy of coming to see Evan for, an hour and a half while I had an appointment yesterday and coming in and like they're like true grandparents. Like they were so excited to bring him green Lucky Charms that turned the milk green. Like that was a big
Exactly.
day for them that they got to come
Yeah.
see him.
Exactly.
But we have our medical scares come up and for me, my responsibility now is taking care of them and advocating for them and their medical needs.
Yes. Yeah. When a lot of people might not know either that your mom was such a huge part of your journey with
My mom,
Creme.
yeah, she was. So my mom, when I started Creme and I finally needed to hire employees, I was talking to my mom about this, and my mom was a key employee when this daycare started in Ankeny. So she had worked at a small business. When she got back into, she raised 5 kids. So when she went back to work, she was pretty key in that. And she came to me and said, "Hey, I know you're going to hire, and I'm going to leave my career of 23 years and be your first employee." And I was like, "Wait, what? Like, I can only pay this, right?" And that was the best thing that ever happened to me because, she's not going to turn me into HR and
Yeah.
she's not going to complain if I cry in the kitchen for hours on end, if I have a meltdown because I don't know how to do things.
Yes.
Yeah, she just stood by me and really helped me get that off the ground. So her and I worked side by side from March of 2011. And then we got our brick and mortar location opened in August of 2012. And I talk about my journey a lot because my mom, after we got our brick and mortar location open, suffered a massive stroke 7 weeks into owning that space.
Yeah.
And so
And
she
you
did,
talked at
yeah,
that time too. You didn't even know if you wanted to move on.
no, I quit. I quit on my business the night that happened. And my team, again, it comes back to they carried it forward. Like Crime would not be here today if it were not for the team that picked that up and kept it going while I was trying to take care of her. But she's doing great. She's still sassy.
Oh yeah. We need to have her on.
Oh my gosh.
I would say she's a tough
Seriously.
cookie, but I feel
She
like I
might
need
be
to
the
say she's
after
a
hours
tough
show.
Yeah, seriously, we should have her on.
Yeah. Oh, we want to talk to sassy women over 70
yes.
for
Oh
sure.
my gosh. Yes. Yes. We have a woman that's 103 at Wesley Acres.
Oh
And
my
it's like,
gosh.
we need to talk to her. I mean, she is just a spitball.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, she just, whatever comes out of her mouth comes out of her mouth.
Yep.
I think us three will be like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
oh,
we
yeah.
should, I mean, could you imagine all of us in the nursing home?
No, we should just start like claiming our spots right now. Like we will make this happen.
That's what I'm hoping for at Wesley. I'm putting in my time. I'm putting in my time.
I
the
only
nurses will be drawing straws. I'm not going on that floor.
They'd be like, "What's that after hours thing? I don't want to be part of that."
Yeah, that's where you can start your after hours show at the nursing home.
Well, that'll be fantastic.
I will love it.
Before we close though, what's the next thing for Christina?
For me right now, I just feel very fortunate. I landed at a 250 company here in Des Moines. I'm starting a brand new role with them. And anyone who knows me knows that I am to my core passionate about small business. Our economy would not exist. And every big business that exists was a small business. And so I'm very fortunate that I landed there. And really, it's a position that's really advocating for small business internally at this big company. So telling the stories, talking about the products, are we even meeting them where they need to be? What is the data telling us? How are we reading the data? And then, just bringing it to light. Like I wish more companies would do this. And I wish that more companies will look at the entrepreneurs to hold these positions because they've lived it. They've lived it.
Been in the trenches.
Yeah, and it's just a very I feel very lucky to be there, and I feel very lucky to be in an environment that really does support women. I mean, I've never witnessed this before. Like the women that are leaders are all in. The men are taught to support the women and show up. I mean, even at our International Women's Day, the men came. So it's just a different environment, and I'm just happy. I'm looking forward to enjoying the time that I can with my parents and I've got limited summers left, and with my kiddo, and making the most of them.
I mean, it's so cliche. Everyone says it, but whoa, it goes fast.
It does go fast.
It really does.
Yeah, he's my little miracle, and
Yep.
I'm gonna enjoy every moment I can with him.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. With that said, I would rather take someone with 15 years of experience than someone with a 4-year degree. I value both. I
Mhm.
really do. I value both. But these positions of representatives that are representing small businesses, a lot of times they have no idea. They have no idea. They've never been a small business owner.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know what happens in the trenches.
Mhm.
And so to have this company, to have you, is such a gift, sincerely. And thank you for all that you have done for small businesses. Thank you for all that you've done for Trixie's
Oh,
and
thank you.
myself.
Thank you.
Yeah. So exciting. And how is it to not have the weight of a company on your
Oh my
shoulders?
gosh, it is like the weirdest thing. I will tell you. I tell people this too because that is an interesting thing. I still have moments of grief, right? It was part of
Oh
my
my
life
gosh,
for so long. It
yes.
was part of me for 12 years. And there's things that come up that cause me like that little pitter patter of like, oh, I'm really sad about this, But then there's holidays like Thanksgiving and
Yes.
Christmas and Valentine's Day that I just
Yeah.
get to enjoy and not worry about. But I'm grateful for all the years that I had. I'm grateful for the new owner. She's making it her own, and that's what I asked of her. I was like, just make it your own.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And you know what? There could come another time in a season of life that you start another business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You don't know.
I think Ryan's terrified of that.
I'm sure it would not surprise him.
Yeah, no, I
You know?
think that entrepreneurship is one of those things, and you both know once it's in you, it's in you, and you look at things completely different.
Yes.
So whether I invest in other businesses, that
Yes.
would be a big passion of mine. Just to be able to be an investor and a coach on that is probably the way that I would keep that spark alive.
Yeah.
Yes. Help other people do it, but you don't
Yes.
necessarily have to do your own thing again.
And have to take the call when the toilet breaks on Christmas.
You don't have to clean the toilet, is what you mean.
That is something. Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Oh
thank
my
Thank you
goodness.
for being vulnerable and talking
Yes.
about hard shit.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for
Right?
having me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yes,
for
yes,
having
yes.
me.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook, and we like to show up in LinkedIn sometime. We just like to be all over the place. So,
Is MySpace still a thing?
oh yeah, we're on MySpace. And what was that other one? Classmates.com. And
Call me on my rotary.
call me on my flip phone. Bye.
That's hilarious.
That was really good.
Classmates.com. Oh my God.
Classmates.com.
Your Sasstastic Life is produced by Apex VO. Go to apexvo.com. That's APEXXVO.